Well, what can we say about what's happening in the project right now? We're at an interesting stage. Everyone knows that we're currently at the stage of obtaining commissioning permits. And our regulatory authorities are making their last desperate stand at this level, at the critical stages of commissioning, decommissioning, operation, and completion. Architectural and urban planning solution, but where they could actively slow things down with minimal cost, let's say, using administrative resources effectively. And accordingly, at this stage, we have completely stopped taking a liberal position, stopped negotiating normally, started working with concrete facts in hand, and, accordingly, taking other decisive measures to address the situation. At the present moment, we are currently engaged in collecting comprehensive information and compiling a complete package of documents that directly point to multiple gross violations of current legislation by officials whose powers include, among other things, issuing commissioning permits. One of the primary reasons for refusing to issue the permit was that our linear addresses, linear objects, don't have addresses provided for them, and we didn't specify them in our documentation. Accordingly, we contacted those who assign addresses to our engineering networks, which are linear objects, and we received many documents for each of these linear objects, these official response letters, for cable systems, sewerage systems, water supply systems, storm drainage systems. For all these engineering networks, we received a formal decision to refuse to assign an address to the object or cancel the address. A decision that addresses are not assigned to our objects. They have already refused us 3 times on these grounds, saying we didn't specify linear object addresses. The question arises, guys, do you understand that these documents are the basis for an appeal to the prosecutor's office? Because repeatedly, through preliminary conspiracy by a group of persons, actions have been committed that are aimed at presenting requirements to us that exceed the sufficient necessary requirements and contradict current legislation. This is the prosecutor's competence. Moreover, this has been done multiple times, at least twice, 3 times already.
Documented too.
And it's documented, we have everything collected. There were many reckless actions, very reckless ones indeed. They thought everything would be as it was before, but they didn't understand that at certain stages we can be liberal. But they relaxed, and accordingly gave us the necessary documents so that we could talk to them from different positions, both from the standpoint of the law and from the standpoint of those institutions that are specifically obligated to monitor and take appropriate enforcement measures to ensure that these laws are complied with. But at the same time, besides this paperwork, we have very serious work going on in debugging technology, in upgrading those processes. Because the main thing here seems to be done. But actually, you look and there are details, yes, we need to ensure there are no metal chips in the holes. What do we need? We need ultrasonic cleaning. Okay, good, the machine is there, but you need to change the water. You need to dispose of the products, because the water is used for cleaning purposes. But all this must be neutralized and supplied in the drain in proper form. All this needs to be equipped, and on top of that in the room, say in the foundry. The mold for casting rotors arrived. We had to make modifications to get more or less reasonable results. Because when we installed the packages, in the first packages aluminum even protruded between the plates. Now we've refined the dimensions, everything is packaged, pressed quite well, so this phenomenon is no longer observed. The packages are additionally compressed. Now we're working out the temperature regime for aluminum injection in such a state when it's literally on the verge of crystallization, in order to minimize gas exposure and prevent the formation of gas porosity. That's what we're working on right now. And in principle, rotor casting is already going with better quality. Their mass is higher, even what we got on the first samples, in the mold. When we pour, we get higher mass. And now we are engaged in manufacturing tooling so that we can conduct technical quality control of the casting, because after casting the rotors must cool down. Before this, they are inspected for external appearance. If any external defects are noticeable, they are rejected to the side so that they can later be rechecked and see what to do with them next. The rest are cooled, subjected to weighing, because a deviation of more than 2 grams is unacceptable. After this, these rotors must be tested. How? A special stator in which the rotor is placed with an air gap, when the rotor is not yet machined. And we measure the RPM it develops and what current is consumed by the winding of the test stator. This is done in order to determine the condition of the bars and assess their quality, because such devices as X-ray and others do not give such results. You can, of course, use X-ray equipment, but the metal is very dense, and the volume is large, so significant radiation is needed. And we didn't want to do that. Now, therefore, we are introducing more gentle methods. But all this needs to be manufactured, because none of this exists, and there is nowhere to buy it. Because ordering this specifically for our tasks, for our rotors from outside, is expensive. It's faster to make it ourselves and cheaper. Moreover, extrusion material for the motor housing has now come to us. Therefore, we are now continuing work not only on frameless motors, but also on frame motors. And accordingly, we are making a test bench. Also, a similar test bench is being manufactured for stators when the rotor is fixed, and we run it in the stator being tested. Similarly, we now need to make tooling for pulling, laying, winding into the 3 or 5 stator core. Not manually anymore, because if you do a significant quantity manually, it's not an option. Because when we wound sections on the angle grinder, we installed 8 simultaneously at once. We wound them, loaded them onto the tooling, installed and pressed. Yes, that's easy, but when you need 96 coils, there are 24. And here 96 coils, doing it by hand is not an option.
Were tests conducted on embedded motors powered by battery packs? If so, what voltage are these drives rated for?
What voltage? You see, we can put 4 turns in a section, we can put 40, we can put 300 turns, and the voltage depends on the number of turns. Therefore, having the same hardware, we can manufacture for absolutely any voltage that the customer desires. This is absolutely not a problem. Selecting the wire cross-section and doing the calculations, this is a matter of minutes, believe me.